channel is not monetized, so if you like my videos and want to see future content, please consider donating to my Ko-fi or ordering a custom piece of art when my commissions are open. Enjoy the video.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Paint and Sip, a series where I talk and ramble and yap for a very, very long time about something that I like, and there's a speed paint of something or other in the background. Yippee! Now, quick disclaimers before I start. This is not going to be edited at all. This is just me straight talking with no cuts, no nothing, just straight up yapping. Second disclaimer is for every single convention I go to, I am not going to make a video every single time I go to one because it would be terrible. The convention itself needs to have like enough things happen during the convention, and secondly, I need to feel motivated to make a video about it. Other disclaimer, you will hear a lot of noises in the background, including my cat, including the birds on my window. So, hooray! We love that. Alright, so this video is about my experience at Anthro New England 2025. And oh boy, was it a con. Now, I haven't been to Anthro New England since 2019, so it has been quite a while. They have a new location, new venue, still in the city of Boston. I really like Boston. It's one of the only cities that I don't hate. So, very good location. Very nice. But there was a lot of things that were different from when I had went in 2019, obviously, pre-pandemic. And we will get into talking about those differences along with all the shenanigans I got up with. But first, I need to talk about a few content warnings before getting into this. So, content warning number 1. There will be mention of not safe for work things happening at the convention itself. Things that either made me uncomfortable, things I attended. Just briefly mentioning, going over that stuff. I will try my best to keep it as safe for work as possible when talking about those topics. Second disclaimer, for drinking, for non-consensual touching, not sexual, just some non-consensual touching. We'll talk about that later. And I guess also a lot of anxiety and a lot of anxiety attacks. So, if any of those things make you feel uncomfortable, I would suggest clicking off. If you are still here, grab a drink, grab a snack, hang out, because this is going to be a long one of just me rambling, and welcome to the Yapper Show. Yapper Show? No, I was supposed to say sit back and relax, and welcome. I don't know how people in podcasts do this. Anyway, let's get started. Anthro New England 2025. I went with 5 friends, including my partner, Spice or Eden. We're gonna call them Eden because that's one of their favorite Sona's names. They have 2 Sonas basically, but Eden is their favorite. I'm pretty sure. We have Moochie Moocher. We have Somnia, and we have June, and me, of course. So there's 5 of us, and we learned very quickly that 5 people in a room is a lot. It is a lot of people. Luckily, we figured it out. So we drove from New York State all the way down to Massachusetts, which was about a 3-hour drive for us. Yippee, not too bad. And my favorite part of conventions is looking out the window and looking at cars and trying to figure out, especially as you get nearer to the convention space, are you a furry or not you a furry? So what me, Samthea, and June did is we were piled in the backseat like a can of sardines, looking at the cars in the window, trying to figure out if people in the car were furries, based on if they had tons of luggage in their car, based on if they had furry stickers. Usually that was a dead giveaway, especially the Bad Dragon ones. Why the hell are people putting Bad Dragon stickers on their cars? I don't know! I guess they just think it's cool. But that was very fun, and that kind of brought the hype up for Somnia, because Somnia, it was her very first furry convention. She's not really a furry, and that's fine. And I thought, little old me thought, Anthro New England, it is a medium-sized con. This will be the perfect one to start. You're gonna have a great time. Oh, little did I know. It would have not been a great first convention experience. I'm drinking tea while I record this, I'm sorry. It's called the Paint'nSip for a reason, okay? Alright, and then started. We actually got to our hotel, Element. Mwah. Love the Element, by the way. It is not the main hotel, but it's like a block away from the Westin, and it is amazing, and they had free breakfast in the morning, and it was so wonderful. So, we get in our hotel, we unpack our bags, we relax for a little bit. 7 o'clock, we head on down to the, oh god, registration. And if you were at Anthro New England, you know how registration went. We were in line until about 10 p.m., so 3 hours. And it was as exhausting as you would think. It was so long. But that's not the only thing that happened at LineCon. Poor June has a medical condition, and their blood sugar suddenly dropped out of nowhere. And lo and behold, they did not have snacks on them. So as we are freaking out, going, oh my god, are you going to die? Are you going to pass out? I decide to run up to the con staff, and I'm like, hey, we need some help. And oh my god, let me just tell you guys, the con staff at Anthro New England, on more than one occasion I've had to talk to them about things. They were so awesome. If there was any con that I've been to besides Philadelphia who had the best staff ever, Anthro New England is up there. They were so considerate, so kind, patient, so helpful with so many different things. Sorry about that. Sipping tea. So, person runs over on the medical team. They bring June to another room. Hello, Chickie. Yes, hello. I'm trying to tell a story. No, you can't have tea. They bring June to another room, and they were more concerned about June than June was themselves. They were like, okay, we're gonna find the sugar packets. We're gonna find you some crackers. So they all, 4 of them, were looking around. They let June sit. They gave him some water. Eventually, we found some Gatorade powder and poured it into my my water bottle, because that was the only water we had. And I made fun of June. I was like, drink your Red 40. Drink your Red 40. Red 40. Red 40 die! And they had Red 40 and they survived. And props to the staff team for that. It was absolutely wonderful. So, June almost died the first day, and that kind of was an indicator of how, yes, Chickie, of how our convention weekend was going to go. Chickie, get off of the microphone. She wants attention, but I can't give it to you right now. Thank you. So the first panel we went to the next morning was the New York State meetup, and that was really fun. We met some cool people. I got to talk to a guy with a lion persona. He was pretty chill. He followed me on Blue Sky. I don't know, shout out to him. Not shout out to your AI generated reference sheet, but I'm glad you commissioned some actual reference sheets, which is good. I think his name is Leaf Mane. Shout out to Leaf Mane. Super cool guy. But it was cool because we got to talk to a lot of other, a lot of upstate New York furries. Oh my god, Chickie. A lot of upstate New York furries, which was really interesting. I thought most people would be from the city, but there was quite a lot of people from the upstate area, which was great. Because, New York State is not just the city, by the way. And for the majority of the time, they were talking about the upcoming New York con called Euphoria, which is in Albany, New York, my hometown. And it started out with 40-something people in 2023, and then in 2024 grew to I think it was almost 400 attendees. That is a huge jump. So I'm very excited to see what they do next year. Not sure if I'm going to go or not, because their guest of honor this year is questionable. If you don't know, look it up. But still, I would love to check it out, even though questionable choices were made. So, Then we went to the dealer's den, and the dealer's den is when things started really going downhill for me. Now, my main thing at conventions, my main thing that I love at conventions is I love suiting. I love fursuiting. I love wearing my fursuit around. My fursuit is super light. She's only a partial. Her head is super breathable. The vision is great. I don't get overwhelmed easily. And that's like the majority of the thing I do at furry conventions. It's the thing that draws me to cons. Always has been. Getting to run around as a big animal. However, for some reason at this specific convention, it was not quite like that. I got overwhelmed so fast. It was ridiculous, especially in the dealer's den when it was crowded. It was hot. For some reason, I thought it was a great idea to wear my fursuit head in there. I immediately had to rip it off. I was like, absolutely no way. And something happened that hasn't happened to me in a very long time. I was on the verge of an anxiety attack. It was like something out of a freaking movie. It was crazy. Sorry about my cat. Oh my god. Chicky! This is not a convenient time. And I literally felt like the world was spinning around me. It felt like things were in a blur. I had to run away from my partner and Moochie, who were still in the dealer's den. I was like, guys, I gotta get out of here. So I ran out of here. I couldn't hear anything. It was too loud. My audio processing disorder was acting up. Everything was too much. I was crazy. I was like hyperventilating, and I eventually broke free of the dealer's den. And it was like sheer relief, but also not quite sheer relief because the line was still, people were still walking around me, people were talking around me. So I went up to this random staff member who was directing the line. Shout out to Crimson. Crimson, I have absolutely no words. Go up to wonderful Crimson, one of the staff members at NAE. Thank you, Chicky. Yes. And I go, hi, do you, like visibly shaking, I'm like, hi, do you know where the quiet room is? And they were like, I don't quite remember, and they kind of said something, and I don't remember what they said. I think they expected me to, like, wait there, but eventually they, like, walked away to go talk with another staff member, and I kind of wandered away, because I didn't know if they were coming back to me or not, so I went upstairs to the next level, and I kid you not, this wonderful staff person chased me down. Crimson chased me down. It's like, wait! I'm gonna help. It's okay. I'm gonna help you. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. You didn't have to follow me. And they were like, no, don't worry about it. This is my job. I get it, girl. So this wonderful, wonderful human being led me to the, it was like the con staff room. It was the same room that June had went in when they were having their medical emergency. And they sat me down. And I guess they had read my audio processing thing, because they were talking to the other staff, and they were like, I just wanted to get them to a quiet place until I figured out where the quiet room was, and I was like, oh my god, bless your soul, thank you. That, like, the fact that a con staff went out of their way, literally abandoning their post to help me find the quiet corner while I was freaking out, was just so wonderful. It was so sweet. Shout out to Crimson at Anthro New England. I gotta find them on social media at some point. Thank you so much for everything. That really made my entire day, and it helped the rest of my con for sure. Also because I found out where the quiet room was, and it helped. So they led me to the quiet room. I gave them a big hug, because of course I did. Super sweet. And I stayed in the quiet corner for a very, very, very long time, and I missed some of the meetups I wanted to go to. But I missed the fursuit games, that's right, but I didn't care, because I was overstimulated, and it was so much. Oh, also there were live animals in the dealer's den. This is completely out of nowhere, but there were live animals in the dealer's den, and it was cool, but also this this kestrel was freaking out, and I felt really bad for it, so they had to put it away. The poor baby. I'm not sure if maybe that was not a good idea. So that happened. We went back to our hotel, and we got food. I forget what food we got. And then the next day, no, it was the same day. It was the sketchbook swap. This was Friday. Oh boy. So on Friday of the convention, all of this happened. So later that night, it was the sketchbook swap, and oh boy. Oh boy. So the sketchbook swap was kind of a mess and unorganized, and usually at sketchbook swaps, you have one big table where all the artists put their sketchbooks on. Put all their sketchbooks on the table, and you go up to the table when you need a sketchbook to draw in, you draw on it, there's usually some characters you can draw in, and then you put it back up on the table. Now, a few things happened during this event. One, that didn't happen, so you just had to, like, either talk to the people at your table, or manually go around asking random folks, hey, do you want to swap sketchbooks? Sure. And it made it like 10 times more awkward. There were like a good 50 people in that room, and this is important context. Like 50 people in that room. Huge room with tons of this is the biggest sketchbook swap I have ever been to. Crazy numbers. So a couple of things happened at the sketchbook. So I remember I was drawing in someone's sketchbook, and the lovely person next to me was drawing Leaf. And on her reference sheet, it clearly states, do not draw her with eyelashes. And they started drawing her with eyelashes. And I scooched over and I was like, hi, I'm really sorry, but I really don't like it when people draw her with eyelashes. And they just like silently erased them. And I felt so bad because they said absolutely nothing. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry if I like offended you or like if I'm like policing your drawing. But no, it was fine. They just silently erased it. And I was just kind of sitting there awkwardly like, hey, thanks. Another thing was, oh, yes. So June and I were at this event. And June was looking through a sketchbook. And June was like, oh, this sketchbook has not safe for work in it. And I was like, uh-huh. Now, this event was not 18 plus. There was a 18 plus specific sketchbook swap later in the night. And why they couldn't wait for that, I don't know. Maybe they miss up their sketchbooks. I doubt it, but not good. There were literal children here. So, being the Karen and the teacher I am, I took the sketchbook all the way up to the con staff, and I was like, this has porn in it. And they were like, oh, okay. So they took it. They're like, do you know who it belongs to? I was like, nope. Here you go. And they said, okay. So they put it on the table, and as I was going back to my seat, some guy was speed walking past me to the con staff. I didn't actually see if it was his or not, but it probably was, just looking at how fast he was going right after we had gone. Oh well. So as we were getting ready to leave, it was kind of a hassle because we had to track down our sketchbooks after that. We had no idea where they were. We had to leave a little bit early, which made it harder. So my sketchbook was really easy to find. I have a little tiny green sketchbook that I bring to conventions. June's, however, is a generic big black sketchbook with stickers all over it. So Somnia eventually came because we were going to go back to the hotel. And Somnia and June were looking at every single table. They weren't saying anything, but they're looking at every single table trying to look for it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, you're never going to get anything done. So I'm like, guys, sit down. Let me do it. So I walk over to every single table. I'm go, hi guys, does any of you have a sketchbook, a black sketchbook with stickers of bugs on it? And they were like, nope, nope, nope. Every single table, nope. And I felt really bad because furries are so awkward. So some of them were like, jolted from the confrontation. And furries are just like that. They're very, very awkward, and I feel bad because I'm very used to confrontation. I'm very used to teaching. I'm very used to speaking my mind on certain things. So I definitely get it why a rando coming up to him being like, do you have the sketchbook? Would be a little bit jarring. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part was I went to every single table in that giant room and not a single person had the sketchbook I was looking for. Some people even blatantly ignored me, which was, also not uncommon with furries. So, what did I do, may you ask? So I went back to my table, I turned to them and I go, guys, I'm so sorry for what I am about to do. And I turn around, I put my hands up to my mouth, and I go, screaming, does anyone have a black sketchbook with stickers on it and also probably bugs? And the entire entire room went dead silent. Yes, Chicky, I know. It's dead silent. And like 50 people in that room were looking at me. This short little dweeb screaming for the sketchbook. And eventually, like, a couple people pipe up. One person's like, I have a green one. I'm like, no, it's not green. And finally, one person who had not responded to me when I was going around the tables goes, I have it. And so we go, okay, thank you. We walk up to that person who was still drawing in it, by the way. They didn't, for some reason, they decided to keep drawing in it and gave it back to me. Eventually, when they were done with their drawing, poor June was, like, mortified. So, that was that. And we left the sketchbook swap. I passed the staff on the way out, and I go, I'm so sorry. And they go, nah, you're fine. I think they thought it was funny. I'm telling you, I should probably be on con staff, because I am very vocal and very willing to be vocal about things people are scared to be vocal about. And that will come into play later in this story. Now, we go back to the hotel, and we get ready for the night market. Now, if you're not familiar with what a night market is, I'm going to tell you right now, it is where adults go to buy and look at adult things. I've never actually been to a night market at any furry convention I've been to. I have been to 18 plus sections. That is about the extent of it. And oh my god, let me tell you, I was not ready for what was in that night market. I'm going to leave out as much detail as possible about the actual content that was there. Let's just say it was interesting. Not to judge furries, but some of it was definitely judge-worthy. So, when we went to the night market, there was a huge line for the vendor hall. And the vendor hall was cramped as hell. You could not move an inch in there when everybody came in. There was way too many people for too small of a space. I don't know why they didn't have the vendor hall in the main ballroom and just have, like, part of that sectioned off and then have the other rest of the main have another ballroom be, like, the performances and stuff, but dang, it did not work. It did not work. It was very poorly managed, will I say. And this is definitely not the fault of the staff team at Anthro New England. I'm sure they tried, but furries are furries and they have no personal space. So we were all crammed in there like a jar of sardines, which was great. It was great. And oh, don't even get me started about the smell. Don't even get me started about the smell. Holy moly, it was stinky in there. It was very stinky. Not just the diaper furs. I'm kidding. I didn't see any actual diaper furs. I did see a diaper fur booth, but no diaper furs. Unless I missed them, thankfully. I also heard that there was a drag show where they got completely naked. I thought that wasn't allowed, but I guess it happened, and I'm kind of glad I missed that. That's enough talking about the night market. It was sure an experience. Let's talk about Somnia now. Now, Somnia, I asked if she wanted to come and talk about her experience since she was not a furry, and it was her very first convention ever, not even just furry convention. And she said no, she's basically at college, which is totally fine. So I'm going to talk a little bit on her behalf about her experience with this convention and furries in general. She told me that she kind of learned not to be so, well, not learned, but she had a very hard time not being judgmental about people and what they were wearing and the choices they made in some of the fursuits we saw and some of the After Dark stuff, because she said there was a bit of a split between the people who were there for fun and games and people who were there for other things, if you know. So that was a little bit of a culture shock to her. She definitely seemed to love the dance competition, though, and we'll get to that a little bit. But the thing that Somnia, I think, really liked the most, being a non-furry and also being freaking smart as hell, is she was obsessed with the mystery going on. Now, the theme of the con was mystery, some kind of murder mystery thing. The con's mascot disappeared, and There are clues around the con space to try to find them. Insomnia was going all in, except the actual mystery was like a absolute nightmare to get through. There were so many things that like she got stuck on. There were so many things that were overcomplicated. She tried to talk to some of the staff. Not even the staff knew how to answer the mystery, which was really funny. They didn't know the answer to their own mystery. But that was what she was doing for the majority of the weekend, and it was very fun to see. And like in the hotel room, her and Moochie trying to like put in a million different words for some sort of puzzle thing they were solving for it, and it was fun. It was good. All right, tea sip. Very good. Excellent. Okay. Now, let's get on to Saturday. Saturday was a much better day for me. I think it was the best day for me at the convention because I didn't get super overwhelmed. Other people got overwhelmed, but we won't get into that. We won't get into their personal experience. So, I wanna give a shout out to the old ladies at breakfast time. Now, the Element Hotel was streaming with furries. It was unavoidable. People coming down to breakfast wearing tails. People going to breakfast wearing, furry gear, paws, really weird furry shirts and stuff like that. I just put on my feet paws and went downstairs because I didn't bring any actual shoes, which was kind of funny. So I specifically remember these two older ladies sitting down with their granddaughter, I don't know. And they had the funniest expressions on their face. Just watching everybody walk by with this like disgusted, judgmental face and whispering to each other. Not overly judgmental, more like shocked, just completely shocked. And it was so funny because no one was actually in a fursuit, and they weren't even trying to hide the fact that they were like making weirded out faces at them. And I was eating my breakfast and I was laughing to myself the entire time. I don't know if they saw me laughing at them. I was sitting right like a few tables across from them, but it was so good. The public reaction to furries is my favorite, just because they just get so weirded out, especially older people. Some people are really into it and some people are not. And the ones who are not are super funny to watch. Let's see, what else we got here? So after that, I was the only one in my group who wanted to wake up. So I went to Clover Kit's birthday party. And if you don't know who Clover Kit is, if you're part of the Warrior Cat community, you have been living under a rock or you're a baby. It's one of those. It's I don't make the rules. That's just how it is. You're either a baby or you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years. So Clover Kit is a well-renowned character in the Warrior Cats community. I'm not going to get into the whole history. I'm just going to talk about my experience. If you want to delve into the whole history, do some Google searching. It's actually very fascinating. But I got to meet the current owner of Clover Kit, which was really, really cool. They were really, really sweet. It was a great panel. They had some coloring sheets. They had stickers. They put some multi-animator project videos up on the screen. They went over the history of Clover Kit. It was really, really fun. I got to meet some really cool younger furries, which was adorable. And they were so excited meeting other furries who were like minors too. And it was really sweet. I got to talk to some parents too, which was really fun, especially as a teacher. I'm like, hell yeah. Thank you for supporting your kids. It means the world to me. And I got some photos with Clover Kit, and they were super, super nice, super, super sweet. Love ya, hun. Thank you for such an awesome panel. Very nostalgic as well. I love nostalgic Warrior Cats content. It makes me happy. And then after that, eventually it was time for the fursuit parade, and I was psyched as hell because this was the very first fursuit parade I had ever been in. I've been to quite a handful of cons now. Never ever been in a fursuit parade, so I was so excited. So I got there nice and super early, waiting in line. I was by myself the whole time, basically, except I ran into a little guy. I forget his name. Portal 2 something. He only had a YouTube channel. I think he played a lot of Portal or some other game starting with the letter P. I don't remember. Shout out to that guy. Awesome. Also a minor. For some reason, I just kept attracting all of the children and being like their furry godmother. I don't know what that was about. Obviously, I have strict boundaries when it comes to interacting with minors, but of course, teacher mode takes over sometimes, and I'm like, yes, my child, you are now my child, and I am your mentor, and I will mentor you in all things furry. So we get to line, and we talked and talked and talked. They showed me the fursuit that they made. It was wonderful. We were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and eventually the fursuit parade was on, and it only lasted about like 5-10 minutes. It was so short, but it was so much fun. Oh my gosh. And looking at the videos of me, I was very fruity. Very, like, why was I moving like that? It was kind of cringe, but also really fun. I don't really know how to perform in suit. Leaf is not really a performative character. She's just me as a cat, so I don't really do a lot of exaggerated movements and funny stuff with her. So it looks very unnatural in some of these videos I'm looking at of me in the fursuit parade, of me like doing the gay little wave. I don't know, man. It was still a lot of fun though. We kept getting out of line and getting out of like the positions in line. It was kind of a tight space at first, but it was good. It was a great experience. A lot quicker than I thought it had been. I got to see a lot of people in the line. I saw Crimson again while I was walking through, bless their soul. And it was fun. It was very, very fun. I lost the guy I was talking to in the middle of the parade. And I hope he had a good rest of his convention, because I have no idea. It was still fun, though. Alright, now at the end of the fursuit parade, I wanted to go back to the hotel room and decompress, and that's exactly what I did. I did that all by myself. I took off my fursuit head, and I was walking through the snow, and then I see this full digi-suiter walking by themselves in the middle of Boston trying to cross the street. And I'm like, this absolute fool, what the hell are you doing? So I go up to this guy, I go, hi, do you need help crossing the street? And they're like, oh my god, yes, thank you. This huge digi-full suitor. So I helped them cross the street, and we went back to the hotel together. We had a lovely chat. Very nice. Shout out to Cedar the Coyote. I followed you on Blue Sky, you didn't follow me back, so I'm heartbroken, but it's okay. It's fine. You were lovely to talk to, and I'm glad you didn't get hit by a car. Hooray! What is this on here? Dance comp bingo? Oh, that's right, the dance competition bingo! So, while we were in the car going to the convention, Somnia, June, Moochie, and I decided to make a bingo. Well, it's mostly Somnia, June, and I, and Spice helped a little bit. No, it was all of us. We made a bingo card of music that we thought would be danced to at the dance competition. Hardly any of that was we got like Chapel Roan and Lady Gaga. That was it. Those were the only two that we checked off on our bingo list. Obviously, we're not very hip with the furry music tastes, I guess. But the dance competition was incredible. And I just gotta say, the host, the Barry the Deer, whatever their name is, I absolutely adore them. Holy mackerel, they're so adorable. And the way they talked was genuinely hilarious. Like, I've seen some interesting hosts at dance competitions in my time, but this guy was the best I have seen. Like, genuinely made us laugh so many times. I just love the voice they put on for the deer. It was hilarious, and I could listen to them talk all day. I gotta find them on social media. Amazing. Like, the name was like Barry the Deer or something. They were like a berry themed. No, that was a different guy. I don't know. They were just a deer. They were adorable. I loved them. Alright, so after we were done with that, at some point, now, I'm going to talk about Moochie for a second. Moochie gets a shout out. Hi, Moocher. Hi, Moochie. We're going to talk about Moochie. We're going to talk about you. Moochie is a freaking nerd. Moochie is one of the biggest freaking nerds I've ever met. And they love music and they love playing the saxophone. Now, two really cool things that Moocher got to do at this convention was they got to play the saxophone with a fairly popular, furry DJ, I think, Goji. I think that's their name, Goji. Yeah, or Joji. I don't know. Not that one guy, but a different guy. But it was really cool because they were just under the stairwell outside the dealer's den, just jamming. I'm sitting on the floor, I'm looking at them like, how are they so in sync with each other? Now, I don't know a thing about music, but it was absolutely beautiful. It was so cool to see them. And my partner was like, yeah! Eden was like, yeah! But then later in the night, Moochie was part of the variety show, and they were the very last act in the variety show, which was unfortunate because a lot of people decided to leave before the last act, and we were like, no, you're leaving out the best part. And let me tell you, Moochie's performance was jaw-dropping. So they make their own music, so they mixed their own music, and then they played their saxophone to the music, and it was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And literally, like, people outside were hearing it and were coming back in the room to listen and watch and see what was going on. That's how good it was. It was so good. And this was at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I don't remember. But it was awesome. Moocher the Butcher, you did such a good job. Also, shout out to the Boston Trophy wife. I'm simping over you really hard and I love you. And you can step on me. Thank you. And then we went back to the hotel, and this was Saturday night, yes. And then we drank alcohol and watched Shrek again. We did this at Philadelphia, and we did it again here for some reason, and it was great. It was great. I'm not gonna elaborate more on that night because it was absolute nonsense, and I don't remember a lot of it. But I remember Shrek was playing, and I remember I think I threatened to throw hands with somebody joking. I don't know what happened that night. So the next morning was the fursuit recess that I wanted to go to because I had missed the fursuit games, so the fursuit recess was happening. Now, there were some interesting choices made during the fursuit recess for games. The very first game that was played, and I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but the first game that was played was, in my opinion, absolutely terrible for fursuiters. So basically, there was a whole bunch of objects in the middle of the floor, and all the fursuiters were split into two teams. So I was on one team, they were on the other team. And when the guy said go, we had to run to the middle and collect as many of the things and balls and trinkets as we could. And whichever team had the most won. Sounds fun, right? No, it was not. Because immediately, as soon as I start running towards the middle, I get kicked in the shin and crumple to my knees. There's probably a recording of it somewhere. I think they recorded the first recess. And I like stumbled back to the chair with my shin absolutely killing me. I'm like limping. I'm like, oh. So I don't blame the person who kicked me because we were all in fursuit. They couldn't see. So I sat out for a lot of the rounds, rubbing my leg. I had a huge bruise afterwards, like the next day. It was bad. So that was not very nice. Not a very good game. But the rest of the games were pretty fun. I didn't participate in too many because I had to leave early. But they were fun. Shout out to the people I met there. You guys were really, really sweet. I wish I got to spend more time with you guys. You were really nice. But now let's talk about consent. What is consent? Consent is getting permission to do something to someone's bodily anatomy before doing it. Now, would you, a normal person, go up to a fursuiter and start touching their fursuit without asking them, knowing that the sight in the fursuit is not very good? No, you wouldn't. Aw, well, I guess that's like the appropriate answer. Good job. Now, what this person did was not the appropriate answer. So while I was walking with my friends to the fursuit games, I suddenly got booped on the nose, and it's like person walking the opposite direction from me, passing me by, just decided to go boop right on my nose, and it scared the hell out of me. It scared, like I literally jumped, like flinched. But I saw the person, I remembered them very clearly, And I was like, dang, I wish I said something to them. But fate would have it. I would get to say something to them. So during the fursuit recess, I was getting some water. We had taken a break. I was getting some water. I put my head back on, and I was walking back over to the main area to start the games again. And then I see them. It was the same person who had booped my nose in the lobby when I was walking by. And I kept on walking, but then I saw their hand slowly rise up and their finger coming right towards my face, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna do it again. Let's go. Do over. Okay. And I grabbed their hand mid-air. Hello, Chicky. I grabbed their hand, gently, or I pushed it away. I don't remember if I grabbed it or pushed it. I think I pushed it mid-air. I turned to them in my fursuit, my happy little fursuit, and I go, please do not do that. It scares me. Or no, I said, please do not do that without asking. It scares me. And let me tell you, this person was, like, shocked. They were shocked. They were like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine, just don't do it again. And, like, I'm walking away and I still hear, I'm sorry. So, needless to say, I don't think they're gonna be doing that anymore. Like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they had been doing it and didn't really understand that it wasn't a good thing to do. I don't know. I tend to always give people the benefit of the doubt in these situations. But there comes a time and a place where you gotta learn that you can't just touch someone's fursuit without asking them. Especially when we can't see you. Especially when it scares us. So, if you're that person out there, I really hope you don't have any hard feelings and that you learned your lesson. Don't touch fursuiters without, 1, letting them see you, and 2, asking. You need to ask before you touch anybody. If you had asked me to boot my nose, I would have let you. I have let people do that. Chicky, you're not helping this situation. Get off my desk. But it is what it is. So the rest of the night went smooth. We had to pack up and go home. Now, before I get to the finale here, the final stretch of our adventure, because ho boy, our adventure was not over yet, I'll tell you that. Holy moly. Chicky, please, you're gonna fall off the table. My cat is going insane. Slap you. Before I end this little ramble here, I would like to talk about the people I met at the convention and people who followed me on social media. And I just want to say thank you for the pictures you got, for compliments, for talking to me. It made my convention, and it was wonderful. And there were quite a lot of you, which is weird because I have a very tiny following, a very niche, tiny following. So the fact that some of you did recognize me was really cool. It's always such an out-of-body experience. It's very fun. And shout out to the one person who came up to me in their cat fursuit and told me that my fursuit inspired them to make their fursuit. That almost brought me to tears. Like in my head, in my fursuit head, I was like tearing up a little bit. And they were so super sweet. So that really made like the end of my convention. Getting to hear that was very kind. Very cool. I just want to say, there was one person I met in the dealer's den, and I was like, hi. They were like, can I get a picture? I'm like, 1, I don't have my head on. 2, I have a leave me alone badge on. So I just put my head up by my face, and they took a picture, but, I was very, understanding and very cool about it. But for future reference, if someone has their head off in a fursuit, don't ask for a picture. Like, obviously they're either taking a break or something, and I don't like people taking pictures of my actual face in public for obvious reasons. So maybe don't. Maybe ask later, or ask if you can get one later. I have done that with people who wanted a picture, and I found them later at the convention and got a picture with them while I was wearing my fursuit. So yeah. Also, the leave me alone badge should have been a warning. It is a bright neon pink. You cannot miss it. But with all that said, I still really appreciated getting to meet a lot of people, getting to meet some wonderful new people, and getting to see some other people I recognize, which was great. So now let me conclude the story with us going home, and we went home in the middle of a snowstorm, and it was a terrible idea. Eden drove us all the way from New York, from Massachusetts to New York. It would have taken us 2-3 hours. It took us 5 hours. 5 hours of driving at a snail's pace in the snow because we had to go super duper 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 slow. And June started freaking out a little bit. We were like, "It's okay." My poor partner was so stressed, and I was like, "Oh." But we did make it home alive, obviously, and we just decided to wait out the storm, and it was, well, Moochie and Eden decided to wait out the storm at my place because they live farther away from me, and it would have been a bad idea to go out again. And that was the conclusion to Anthro New England 2025. My final thoughts on the convention. I think that this is no longer a medium convention. I think it is now a large convention. Definitely one of the largest. I think that the venue was way too small for the amount of people who came. Why is there a delivery? Hello? I'm putting my window down. I don't want you to see me. Go away. The staff at Anthro New England were absolutely lovely. The people at Anthro New England were mostly very lovely. Some of y'all need to learn how to put on deodorant. I'm sorry. There is no reason for you to be stinking that bad. Stop. And it wasn't the fursuiters, surprisingly. All the fursuiters smelled great, even in the fursuit parade. I could smell them through my mask. I either smelled nothing or I smelled like, the yummy fursuit sprays. It was the people without the suits who absolutely reeked. Disgusting creatures, put on deodorant. Shower. Nasty. Anyway, that's Anthro New England. I had a pretty good time. Will I be returning? Nah, probably not. If I'm going to be honest, it was just a very big convention, and I am not really a fan of really big conventions. I will stick to my little tiny Philadelphia. Thank you. That is my favorite convention, and I will absolutely be attending again this year. And also maybe Euphoria, if I get over my internal moral conflict with that convention. So, let me do the classic like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. And I'll see. Tricky said I need to shut up and stop doing that. So I'm going to stop doing that. Thank you guys so much for your support, for watching this video. If you made it all the way through, holy moly, you are a beast, and probably just listen to this like a podcast. Like a podcast, which is what the intended purpose is. Hope y'all have a lovely day. Go get water, hydrate, relax. Say I love you to your loved ones, and have a wonderful night. Goodbye, everybody.